the breath, and acceptance. My friends, the transformation of your inner life, mental alchemy per se, really begins at accepting. Accepting all that comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny. For what can more aptly serve your needs, said Marcus Aurelius. Acceptance of the state you're feeling internally. You see, oftentimes, maybe we're feeling weakness or fatigue or anxiety, right? What we often want to do is reach for pleasure or happiness or the opposite pole, and we start chasing something instead of accepting what is. Acceptance of what is, my friends, is the way to, those higher states of consciousness and opening to the flow of life. We must first accept what is. And breathing and letting life happen, letting the feminine flow through you. We can see this on the emotional level. It's like breathing and just holding your masculine structure, but letting the feminine, which is all emotions, thoughts, energy, power of the universe, just move through you, right? Not resisting it. You see, whatever we resist will persist. And if we want, let's say, peace, right? We must accept the turbulence first in order for the waters to settle, right? If we want to rise above the external circumstances of life, we must accept where we are in life, right? And this takes mad courage. It takes so much courage to accept all things that happen to you, right? To pursue even-mindedness above all else, realizing that we will be tested, that life is a grand training ground. There's going to be highs and lows. You're going to have gain followed by loss, right? Pleasure and pain, right? Things are going to be going great, and then hard times are going to come. Calamities in your life, my friends. Can you accept those? Can you accept the hardship and the suffering? Because that is giving way to something beautiful. Every lesson comes with a blessing, my friends. And when your life seems like it's falling apart, it's actually usually falling together, And it's like, can we accept? Because the more we resist the Tao, the more we resist life, the more control we seek, the tighter we get. The more resistance we have, the less control we have, actually. It's this paradoxical law, The more we resist and try, to impose our conscious will, the more we get out of touch with the rhythms of life. And the further we get from that, the more fear and lack of control we have, right? Internally, acceptance comes first. And when we can breathe and accept, truly accept, the internal experience we're having, right? We can come to this place of an elevated state of consciousness, an elevated frequency, where we're no longer reacting or moved by the external or internal condition, right? We are sovereign. And through that, right? Through that neutralization, breathing in neutrality to dissolve reality. Through that neutralization, then we can polarize ourselves to the point in which we want to experience, right? If we're breathing in acceptance, after a while we'll come to this point of equanimity, of even-mindedness, which we should pursue, right? And at that point, you can polarize yourself to be, confident, to be one with life, to be at peace. You can embody the attitude of that peaceful warrior. You can embody the attitude, of alive with life. Right? And start breathing into that, start cultivating that, start imagining how you are. You see, my friends, we cannot do internal work, internal transformation, unless we first recognize, accept, and allow the song to sing its course, and then polarize ourselves at the pole in which we wish to embody. You see, the law of rhythm exists in all things, the hermetic law of rhythm, in the gain and loss, the rise and fall of earthly circumstances, the fickle throes of fortune per se, but it also exists within, right? And if we want to rise above the law of rhythm, which states that, for every state of, joy, you're going to have an equal and opposite state of sorrow coming soon, right? For every state of abundance, you're going to have an equal and opposite state of scarcity inside. right? And if we want to rise above that, we need to accept where we are and then learn to polarize ourselves intelligently, you know, into the place we want to be. You know, I'm just realizing that life is about finding the right amount of pressure, right? The right balance between surrendering and discipline, right? The right amount of balance between surrendering to what comes to you and creating forth with your will. There's this right amount of balance in all things, and life is this constant art of trying to find that balance, of trying to balance opposites. This is what internal alchemy is about, you know. And yoga, Buddhism, Taoism, these great traditions of the East, you know, such a premise of the philosophy is about learning to pursue even-mindedness above all else, to not be at the mercy or a slave to external circumstances, where we can live light as a feather. To live light as a feather, we must accept all things that come to us and no longer see it through the conception of good or bad, because we must realize and understand that we are so blind down here. We're so blind. We have no idea. You know, you might be like breaking up with your partner. It seems like a catastrophe, a calamity. But really that relationship was actually holding you back, and something beautiful and new is coming in, right? You might be going through loss, losing your job, right? Losing money or something. But that is going out so something new can come in. You know, the yogic philosophy is about learning to accept and actually embrace and enjoy the loss of things going out in life, just as much as things coming in. That is even-mindedness. That is the spirit that has risen above the throes of life, you know, that enjoys the gain and loss, that enjoys the pain and pleasure equally. Another tenet of yogic philosophy, you know, is that pain is purifying. To accept all pain that comes to you, emotionally, mentally, physically, to accept it all as the great teacher, as the great way opener, right? Pain is purifying. It's the fire that burns, right? Learning to accept that and not see it as something bad. You see, if we're stuck in resistance to pleasure or aversion to pain, resistance to pain, and chasing pleasure, we are Pavlov's dog. We are a slave to life. But when we can rise above that, when we can learn to embrace pain and pleasure, we are no longer subservient to either. We are sovereign, right? And that comes through accepting both with even-mindedness. And to accept both in even-mindedness is to be rooted in something higher. The seer, per se, the higher mind, the spirit dancing behind it all. Through the highs and lows of life, can you be rooted in that which is eternal? You know, that's what even-mindedness and acceptance is about. Being rooted in that which is eternal. Because when we can do that, we can create from that place, right? We're no longer in resistance to life, but we are letting life happen. And my friends, when we can let life happen, you know, and be true to our core and move from our core, that's when our highest destiny comes into being, you know. My friends, this is Reality Files. I'm Kristian. This is a raw philosophy talk on things I am processing and learning in my experience. If you like this video, please hit that like button and let me know. Also, if you want to talk to me one-on-one, I got the breathwork group training intensive program coming up here. So you can email me for information about that, or there's a link in the description below to apply for the intensive training program. Thanks for being here, my friends. Pursue even-mindedness above all else. Recognize and accept, you know, the negativity in life, because every negative emotion, when accepted, is usually a positive experience. There's a backwards law. There's a paradox out here. So much more could be said here. Let me know where you want me to go deeper. Thanks, my friends. Peace.